but I would prefer to do this in horizontal mode. They don't want that, so. Um, Seconds here and just chit chat a little bit. I'm sure. Oh, maybe there'll be somebody show up. Maybe there won't. Um, I like doing live streams and shows on live, so we'll get it all figured out. But anyway, so for those people who don't know, I like being in the water. That's a lot of my channel. That's the things I like to do. I because of some traumatic experiences that happened in my life, and mentally diving helps me a ton, and I want to help others. That's part of what I want to do with my channel. That's part of what I want to do. It overall is help others and make other people's lives better. So anyway, that's me. I do as many things as I can to help make other people's lives a little bit better. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to touch on a few things, and hopefully this will be something that other people who may be thinking about doing a dive similar to this, going to the places where I have been. Actually, this was just a short 5-day trip. This is a combination birthday, Christmas, and everything else, gift, vacation, everything rolled into one. I do everything I can to save as much money as possible. So anyway, I cruise on Royal Caribbean. I know there's a lot of people out there who go, oh my God, a cruise ship, oh, they pollute, they're nasty. Okay, I want to ask you a question. If you went to a restaurant that was a buffet, did they ask you to wash your hands before you went in to go sit down and eat? No, I've never been to a buffet. That's what they do on the ship. Yes, there are problems because there are so many people. This is it. This ship, there are more people on this ship right now than in the small town that I live in. And so yes, things can happen. Do they pollute? Yes. I would argue that to take this many people to a tropical location for 2 weeks, let's for instance Roatan, to fly people from the U.S. to Roatan, you would probably use a similar amount of fuel, a similar amount of pollution. It's life. If you are using electricity, if you have a home, if you have a vehicle, and all those things, those are all going to do the same thing. We do need to do better. I 100% agree. Roatan almost primarily uses diesel generators. They do have some solar power. I believe that they're putting a connection into the mainland, but that's a lot of money, that's a lot of cost, and it takes time. We do need to get better. I sail on Royal Caribbean partially because they are trying to do better. I sailed out of Galveston, Texas, and that terminal is supposed to be a zero or near zero impact. Is it perfect? No. The things that they could do to make it better. But better at things, we will make changes, and life will be better. It's not going to happen overnight. It can't. The only way to have it happen overnight is tomorrow, go out, shut your car off, flip the breaker on your house, turn the power off, and go outside and grow your own food and raise everything yourself. That is the only way that we can flip the switch today. Walk, don't drive, no bicycle, no cell phone. All of these products that you want, your clothes, everything else, you have to make it yourself. And it's tough. It's not going to happen overnight. This is a fuel efficient way that I see that is going to be a similar impact. We're all doing these things, and we all have to reduce. Me personally, I use, for this household, would use twice that. So instead of using 1,000 gallons per person, we use 500. There are ways that we can do things to make things better. Royal Caribbean is switching over to LNG. They are going to be retiring their older ships, and things are going to get more efficient. It's going to be better. Okay, so I want to talk on that real quick first. Um, they do a lot of recycling, and they so far to me have been one of the most conscientious cruise lines there are. Not to say that they're perfect, but they are all getting better. The industry in general is getting better, and it's a way for me to have a platform to travel to multiple locations for as cheaply as possible. I am not rich. I stay in interior cabins. I do anything and everything I can on my own. I have my new camera stabilizer here that I built myself. Um, to have a stabilizer similar to this that is pre-made, you're looking at probably $300 to $400, and I think it cost me a total of about 20. So, I am cost conscientious as well, because the more cost conscientious that I am, the sooner that I will be able to take and do other things that are going to make people's lives better. So, again, this for me is a dive trip. I got to go to Costa Maya, I think it's Majahul village, and then to Cozumel. I had a very good time. For real quick, I'm going to talk about a couple of things that were bad. If you are on a cruise ship going to Costa Maya, that area it's a nice little port area. It's not perfect. It is a long walk. If you are diving or thinking about diving there, and the cruise line did not have an excursion there at any point in time that I've been there twice now, and so I had to book through another company. Now, the first time I was there, the taxis came directly up to the terminal area. This time they are being kept outside of the gate for people that are going to certain places, and that makes it rough. It's probably about a 1 mile walk from the ship to where the taxis are, and that's very bad. That's rough. I had a little bit of a problem. I dove with Mar Dentro. I've dove with those guys before. The first time, it was really cloudy in the water. It was really rough. This time it was much calmer, much better. That was great. I had spoke with the owner. His name is Oscar, and said, "Hey, look, I'm going to be down there. I know I have to get over there. Instead of me taking and paying all kinds of fees and everything else and having your money cut into, how about I just take and come down and I'll just hand you cash? You can take and yeah, oh, that's great. And I said, and if there's anything that you guys would like brought down, maybe something that you need that is going to be exorbitant shipping, I'm on a cruise ship. I literally carry lead in my BCD because I don't have to worry about weight. This cruise ship, they don't care. You know, as long as it's not something that's prohibited, great, fine. And I'm going to get into the weight thing here in just a second as another bad point. But there was some miscommunication there. I was expecting to be able to do 2 dives. I only got to do 1 because of time constraints and everything. And getting back to the ship, the ship pulled in around noon, and they were leaving out at around 7. That's ship time. It would have been 11 and 6 their time, or maybe it was 6 that we were leaving out. It wasn't an extreme amount of time. And most dive shops, they do their first dive around 9, 10. They do another dive around noon, 1, and then their final dive is probably around about 5 o'clock. And it just really, first of all, it was going to be dark for the second dive by the time we're pulling out. And then I have to take and make it from the dive shop to the terminal, walk a mile, get back through security, get back on the ship. I didn't want to risk that. I want to have a buffer. I want to be on the ship 1 hour before it leaves, or at the very least within that port area to where it's a couple of minute walk. So a little bit of a rough time there, but otherwise very, very nice, very enjoyable. So that is one thing. If you are going to be diving, especially if you're carrying your own gear, which I do that because I have over 70 dives with my gear. I know my gear. And rent gear, I'll be honest, most of these shops are going to be taking and utilizing gear that may not get serviced as often as it should because it's costs for them, and it can be abused and rough and everything else. And that's what it is. I have my gear. I know my gear is safe. I will bring my gear every single time I can, and that's just what it is. My next little bad point, and this is one against Royal Caribbean, and it's really frustrating to me. Again, I carry my own gear. By the time I have my cameras, my spare batteries, my cell phone, my BCD, my weights, my fins, my mask, my snorkel, and a few other little things here and there, I am probably carrying around 50 pounds. Now, I'm not a lightweight. I know that. I'm working on it. This trip probably killed a little bit of that. I probably gained a couple of pounds. That's, it's a little bit of a vacation for me. It's a little bit of downtime. But I want to carry my own gear again because I know my gear. I go onto the boat and say, I'm perfectly weighted. An AL80 at the end of a dive, if you are not weighted a little bit heavy at the beginning, you're going to be sitting there trying to do your safety stop. You're going to be trying to float up to the surface. You're constantly trying to swim down and stay. It's a pain. It's not what you're supposed to be doing. You're supposed to be weighted for the end of a dive. And, if you're diving and you're trying to figure it out, fresh water, at the end of your dive is when you should be doing a weight check and getting that number down. Drop down at, when you're at 700 psi, if you're in a pool or something, drop down and see if you're going to hover at about 10 to 15 feet at the end of a dive. And that's what your weight should be. If you can't take and drop down and hover, you need to add a little bit more weight because those cylinders are going to be positively buoyant. If you're running steel cylinders, I run 117 steel, 3242 psi, 117 cubic feet of air. It's amazing. I love it. I get to do 2 dives on 1 cylinder. Again, in a way, that's a little bit of a cost savings because instead of having to pay $20 for 2 dives for cylinders, I can get it done in 1. And my snorkel just fell on the floor. Maybe you'll see a little bit of rocking back and forth and everything too. I'm on a ship. I'm moving at sea, and amazing. But so what Royal Caribbean has decided to do is a little bit of a holdover from when the pandemic was going on. I did sail during the tail end of that. That was October of 21, and there they had everybody taking and going down into the theater and sitting together in groups, and I understood that and everything. The pandemic is over. I have sailed since then. I was on Vision of the Seas in January of 22, and we went to the standard way. It was, here's your ticket, you're going on a dive excursion, go into the port and take, and you'll see a guy there holding a little sign that's going to say where you're going to and everything else. That's perfect. I get to take a single trip, walk down to where I need to be, set everything down, and chill. Some places you feel Cozumel, that is where I'm giving point. It's right there. Off of the ship, you walk down the pier, and as soon as you get through the area where they have a little dog a couple of dogs that are checking for food materials because you're not allowed to bring food onto the shore, especially fruits, because if there's something there, it could decimate theirs and their growing ability. And we do the same thing in the U.S. A lot of countries that produce something, they don't want outside coming in to potentially bring in a bug, and that's what it is. I have no problem with that. But you pass through that area, and right there, the guys from the dive shop are waiting. They've got a form. You take and you go over, sit at a table, you fill that out, boom, off you go. I get to set all my gear down right next to where they're waiting. It's great. You know, you get to chit chat a little bit, you get to walk around. This stuff is, um, and yes, there are some people that bring a suitcase, or some sort of a rolling case with their gear. I have found the best way for me is that I shoulder my gear. I put my BCD on. I have my weights in my pockets. I have my camera. I have my dry bag, and then I have a mesh bag that has my fins and my snorkel and my mask in it. This allows me to step onto the dive boat, set everything down, and I'm ready to go. Literally, I'm saying, where's my cylinder? Would you like me to get my gear put on? Because I want to be in the water. I want to be in the water now. Um, a lot of people that are going to the dive shops and getting the rental gear that is there, you know, it's no big deal for them. For me, that's not the case. And I'm not the only person who does this. There was another gentleman, he had a rolling case. Well, now you've got this big rolling case, and a lot of these dive boats barely have enough space for a bag this size. I believe this is a 20 liter, you know, about the size of a 5-gallon bucket. And, you know, a lot of dive boats do not have space for stuff. There are times where I take this bag, I roll up the top, I get it folded over, and I find a little area that's out of the way, and I take and I clip my bag around that to keep it out of the way and make sure there's more space. Thankfully, you know, in Cozumel, they've actually upgraded their boat. It is wide, it's huge, there's space for everything, no problem. And that was very good. Royal Caribbean is having us go into the theater and sit down in a group. Now, there were, I believe, 26 or 28 divers on a boat with around 3,000 people. It's less than 1%. Okay, what is it? Around 0.1% of people are diving. And yes, maybe it's only 3 or 4 or 5 people that are carrying a large amount of gear. But taking us into a theater area and putting us in a group of 200 people so that we have to take and carry this stuff around and try and walk past here and walk past there, to me, that's 100% unacceptable. You know, Royal could easily take and have a little thing that says, are you bringing your own gear? If so, check this box. And you check the box and they say, hey, these people are going to have a lot of stuff. They are going to need a larger area. They could have us taking, or just the dive people, you know, 20 people, go sit down in a meeting room area or in the main dining room, which is probably going to be pretty well empty, or, you know, some place that is good enough to take and hold about 30 people. Boleros is on this ship, and it's a small bar. We could be sitting there. Actually, that area would have been perfect. It's open. They could have a little bit of music playing. You know, we could sit there and wait and have no problem. Drop down, step off the ship, go to the area, and be ready to go. Going to the theater just is not going to work for me. And the young lady who was directing people around, where here you come in here, now you got to walk around here, and you got to walk all the way to the front, you got to wait in line, and you get a little sticker, and then you're supposed to put the sticker on your chest, and then you're supposed to go over here and sit and wait in these seats that are, you know, here you are, okay, you know, while you're carrying, it's not going to work very well, guys. And I said, hey, look, this does not work. Not for divers. This is bad. This is a step backwards, especially to me. And so, you know, I took and I actually ended up saying, hey, I've been here before. I bet $100 that those guys are standing at the end of the dock right where they were. And that's it. I took and I said, you know what, I'll just go over there. I'm not going to do this. And, you know, maybe that's a little petty of me, but again, I challenge you to take and strap 50 pounds worth of stuff onto your back and walk around and stand around for 20, 30, 40 minutes when you could take and you could get out there, you could get some paperwork filled out, and you could take and drop everything off and be ready to go. I love it. I've been on buses, done that. I was in Roatan and did that. You know, I've been a few other places. Um, I went to Antigua, I went to St. Kitts, I went to St. Lucia, and these were ones where Royal didn't even have anything set up. And it was easy enough for me to walk off the ship and either walk over to the area where they were all set up, or grab a taxi, or maybe somebody was there to pick us up, and that works. That was fine. I had no problem with that. The hurry up and wait game, and sit here with a whole bunch of people who aren't even going, just because, oh, well, we want to group everybody together to take everybody off the ship in one go. I That's a fail. That's a huge fail to me. And actually, when I get done with this, I'm going to be forwarding a link on to Royal Caribbean. If you are a member of Royal Caribbean staff or whatever, contact me. Seriously, if you guys are changing these processes, you need to have somebody who is a diver, who is active, and can tell you and give you this feedback. Because I challenge you, if you work for Royal Caribbean, I challenge you to take and carry that gear around and be in a group and do this over and over and over again. As it sits, if there's dives available through Royal Caribbean, I will probably, outside of the ones where I know right where I'm going to go to meet people, I will probably not be booking through you. I will book through a third party, even if it costs me more, because of the chaos you have injected into that. That's what I see it as, chaos. Um, you know, diving is a different subset. You are working with a very small group of people, and so you have to take that into account. Let's see. That. I think I've got everything there. And like I say, especially for people carrying your own gear, if you are carrying your equipment, that's going to be a big thing. And you'll see if you're going to be on Royal Caribbean ships. If this is going to be their standard operating procedure, I don't know what else to say. It's something that's not going to work out very good. So, my dive gear is sitting here. I'm going to talk a little bit about things, and my BCD is getting more and more frayed here. I hate it. Luckily, the only thing I have in here is, well, that's where my dive weight sits. I don't have my weights in here, but it's not a huge deal. I have this and everything. I want to get it fixed. I want to get it replaced. Even if I get a replacement, I'm going to keep this BCD. This has been a workhorse. It's always something I'll be able to fall back to. If I end up going someplace that's going to be rougher, I will very likely take it along. I do have a bead on a Scuba Pro. And I can't remember the one. It's very similar to like a backplate and wing setup, but it does have the integrated weights. If you dive, you probably know which one it is. I know somebody who has one used that has been offered to me. Part of it is just meeting up. His name is Chris, and yeah, it's great. I thank you very much, sweetie. And that's my better half, I'll call it. And she has helped me through a lot. And she knows my frustration, and I think I'm being very polite. I can be a bear when that stuff comes on, because I always tell people I am allergic to stupidity, and I hate saying that word. But it makes me break out in Tourette's. Okay, and that's trying to be polite. And I try to be a polite person. I try and be a kind person. I brought on. I'm sorry. I brought onto this ship 20 pounds of individually wrapped pieces of candy, about 2,000 pieces. Because I know the people on this ship are here to help support their families and make a living, and a lot of them come from countries the Philippines and Indonesia, and this is how they make money, and they're a long ways away. And so I try to do my best to be a very kind and polite person to them, and that was my way of saying thank you, because the number of people that you see is only a fraction of the number of people actually working on a ship, and those people below decks don't get the thanks that they deserve. Every single person deserves a thank you, because it doesn't matter if it's a person that's working in the sanitation areas or in the engine room or anywhere else. They deserve a thank you, and to me that's doing something good for them. Maybe there's that one person who's having a really bad day, and they go and they get to get a piece of candy and see somebody saying thank you to them. And that's what I want to do, and it made me feel amazing. I got to talk with some of the staff at the desk. It was the very first day, and for them to have someone just say thank you, this is a gift for you, so everyone can hopefully get a little bit of something and a little bit of comfort, and know that there's somebody that cares. And that's just, that's what it is, at least for me, and it made me feel amazing. And I can be a very emotional person. Um, Check out some of my other videos, and you'll see why. I also have another channel that's MuttMutt's Game Room. I'm a geek. I'm a gamer. I love doing all kinds of different things. The channel has been abused a little bit here recently. I moved to bad internet, but I want to get back into that. Right now, it's probably going to be once a month. I've had so many things going on that it just fell by the wayside. So, all right. Probably the part where a lot of people who are going to be watching this video later on or now, it's I believe it when I did a speed test, it was 18 down and 5 up. Amazing. Hopefully this video is fairly clear. So uh, okay. So I'm going to start with a couple of screenshots of the video. I will work on it, and I'm not gonna have a lot of content coming out because I only get to do this once a year right now. I am hopefully going to be able to do some trash cleanup dives at some point in time in the summer. I have to have my cylinders visual or hydro tested. That's a cost, and traveling to locations from where I live to find a little bit clearer water is a cost. So I might get to do that once, probably around July, August, sometime when it's really hot. I do go to a local pond, and I dive a little bit there. It's set up a swimming area for public, and I like to go in there. The water's murky. There's not a whole lot to see. I find people's lost watches and sunglasses and stuff like that in a few areas, and just troll around a bit. So, all right. Let's see here. These are not in any particular order. This first group is going to be from Costa. I have 8 screenshots there. And so on this one here, I'm going to step a little bit closer and hopefully get this to where you can see really well. Right there, that little light spot there, that is a little nudibranch, I believe. I'm going to look up things and hopefully have the exact correct names. This one here, it was just a gorgeous little shot, and this fish here, I was hoping he would turn and face me, but he sadly did not. Hopefully that's showing up okay there, but just a little reef shot and everything in Costa Maya. The water was amazing compared to the first time. The first time it was really cloudy. This time it was very clear. I was very happy. Here, and I'm going to zoom in a little bit. It's going to be this guy here, right there. Right there. That is, I was told, is a little blenny. And he's just a little itty bitty tiny guy. If I zoom out there, yeah, find the blenny. And he lives in just a little hole in the reef, and he pokes out and he grabs a little something here and there. Let's see here. This one. Oh, this one I didn't even realize, or otherwise I would have gotten a little closer. I noticed in the video later on where there is a little spot guy right there, and I'm not sure if maybe that is. I'm not sure what that is. I don't know. And then this one here, and screen brightness went down. Let me brighten that up a little bit. Actually, maybe if I turn off this little light here, that might help too. Might get a little bit darker. Give me 1 second here. All right, so the cowfish, he takes and he follows the ray along, and the ray will take and fluff up the sand a little bit, and the little cowfish, he takes and he looks for little things in there. The ray is probably looking for, oh, some sort of crustacean buried in the sand. Very, very cool to see. Let's see, this is, yes, this is also Costa. And this is just a little school of damselfish on the reef, just swimming through. It's really pretty. This is another, just a little reef shot, and a couple of little yellow and blue damsels hanging out here in their little section of the reef. I believe that's a little fry right in there. Here, this is my dive guide. Get a nice little shot of her. That was Gaia, and it's spelled like Gala. I believe she said she's Venezuela or Brazil or something like that, and she's doing the same thing that the rays do, and fluffs up the sand a little bit. And we have a little cowfish here. He's taking and he's coming down and he's checking to see if there's anything there. She says, "Oh, I'm just playing with him a little bit, you know." It was really fun. This one here, this is Cozumel. Now, this is my second dive in Cozumel, and there's a couple of little rays there. There we go. See if we can get a little bit better shot. If you can see those little dark spots there, those are the rays. They were out there. Now, the guy that is down on the screen a little bit, he got spooked and he took off. The other one, he just sat around there a little bit. This guy here, this was really cool to see, and this hopefully shows how much better my video footage should be. This is I believe it's an arrow crab, and he was tucked down in the reef there, and just the lights were set up really nice. You got a good shot of him. You can see the actual reef color is red in there instead of it being, you know, just a washed out brown. This right here, that is an eagle ray. Huge, huge, huge guys. He's probably about, oh, I'd say about 75 feet away, and so that was really cool to see. Lobster, yeah, tasty. Caribbean lobster, I believe is what they're called, and he was just tucked in a little cave. There was a couple others. One of the other ones I didn't really get a good image of. This is another arrow crab right there, and that was really cool to see. And then there was a few coral banded shrimp, and these guys here, they were tucked down in behind, and as I came up closer, they took and come up to the top and they put their little feelers out. For those that don't know, those guys actually are cleaners, and so even the moray eels do not eat them, because they provide a service. They go in and they pick things out of the teeth, they clean up any parasites or anything else. And these guys come up and said, "Hey, do you need a cleaning?" Cool, right? I mean, as a diver, I didn't want to reach out and touch or anything, but they will actually take and come up on your hands, and they will take and they will pick under your nails and find little loose pieces of skin. It's almost like if you go into the ports, a lot of times they have the little fish foot cleaning things. So this is a little pair of the the arrow crab, I believe that's what it is. There's one guy over here in the back, he's a little darker, and then that one there. Just really nice to see. Oh, speaking of eels, this guy here was out in the open. I was really surprised to see that. I know it does happen from time to time, but generally it's at night. And then he had a fish over here watching to see, like, you know, hey, look, if you get something, is there going to be any scraps for me? And that was really, really nice. This is a spotted ray, I believe. I will be looking this up. And this guy, he was trolling around, and he actually came up and underneath of me and went across. And this is where I first saw him, and he came down through, and it was really, really nice. I loved it. This is another eel. He was tucked back into his cave there, and you know, it was just so cool to see, and he was kind of photogenic. There's another one that I have that wasn't very much. Another little banded shrimp there hanging out. And actually, I want to say around the corner from him was another guy. Oh, starfish. First time I've seen one of these guys in the wild. I want to say it's a hairy star or something like that, but really cool, really, really, really nice. And this is the eel that I saw there. And that was the second dive. This is my first dive, I believe, or no, I think this is my second dive as well. And this is just a little school of fish, and they were hanging out here in a shallow area where it's a little bit calmer, taking a little break, maybe a little siesta. This is the end of my second dive, and here I have two, I believe they're dog-face pufferfish, and they were just swimming around each other. It's probably a male and female. Amazing, amazing, amazing to see. Another little school of fish. Now, this I'm going to talk about this one here for just a little bit. This was a drift dive. Drift dives are very interesting. They are both very easy and very demanding. You're riding the current along, but if you don't have really good buoyancy, then you might run into things, and that's really bad. I absolutely do not want to take out a section of reef. But every once in a while, you'll come across this little area where there's a depression here. Bring that up a little bit more. And so this, actually, I'm going to slide a little closer and sit down. Maybe that'll work out better. Hold on one second here, guys. Yeah. Oh, yeah, I like that better. So, oh, that light. Hold on one second. One more time. All right. I think that solves the light problem and the glare. So, you might see a little sparkle here. I have a little WLED strand. If you can see the twinkles in there, I love having it, and it's just really cool to see. So, let me turn the brightness up just a little bit more again. This thing automatically wants to tone it down. So, anyway, this is a school of fish. And in this area here, there's a depression. And in the depression, the current drops off really, really big. And here is a cave. In the caves, you will sometimes get moray eel sitting in there waiting for a snack. And what happens is these fish, they're swimming all day fighting this current. And they go, hey, you know what? I'm getting tired. And they drop in there, and they take a little break, and they hover. And that's the time where the moray gets to pop out and go, ooh, lunch. You know, it doesn't happen all the time. There's not always an eel in there, but the dive guides know, hey, let's check this one out. And I've got a surprise on that one. So this is another little depression there. And you can see that it's sand. There's no reef in that area. I'm not sure why they form. I just know that they do. And a little school of fish that are in there just kind of hanging out. This guy here was out cruising around. I just thought he was gorgeous, and I figured I'd include it along. I believe I don't know if these are triggerfish. I think these are triggerfish, and there was just a school there. Really cool to see. And again, like I said, you know, the depression in the sand, and you'll get some fish just hanging out and everything. Well, here's the reason why that might not be the safest thing for him to do. So if you look here, you see fishy, fishy, oh, what's behind that fishy there? Do you see it? Right there, if you see that little black spot there, that is a green moray eel. Let's see if I can get this in here. Can you see him there good? I hope so. Um, I can do a little zoom in here too. Do you see him now? Okay, so that guy, I would say his body is probably, about yay big around. I would say probably about 8, maybe 10 inches around at the widest part there. And all you see is the head there. And maybe he already got him some lunch, or maybe not, but, you know, that's where they like to hide out because, hey, they can catch a little meal. So, this was a cowfish, and he was just hanging out there on the reef, just doing his thing, and just I love seeing little things like that, and the coral here. And what's really cool, and you can't see it in the still, is these corals. They're doing this because of the current going past, and it's just really cool to see them all. Couple of bigger fish. They're not tangs, I don't think. Oh, over here, this is a tang on this side here. And the reason why I know that is, let's zoom in here, right there, right there at the base of the tail, that is the little spine. And imagine your finger out of your hand, this being the end of the tail, and or being the body, sorry, and this part here being the end of the tail. And what they do is they tuck this little guy in here about like so. And again, this fingers is the body and my palm is the end of the tail. And this little point comes out. And then if they feel threatened, they poke it out and they slap up against whatever is after them. And that's their defense. And then these guys here, some coral in behind. And the thing about doing video in the currents like this, it's hard to stop and there's motion all the time, but it's really an amazing dive. It's more something that you really truly have to experience to really see what's there and see what's going on, and its fleeting looks and everything else. So let's go here. Oh, and this is another school of fish, and again, there's some sponges here in this area here. There's this big sponge there, some coral up over here, and these guys have tucked down into the little depression to take a little bit of a break. So, and that's it. That's what I've got. For pictures and everything. This is just pictures, like I say, from my recent dive trip, and all the color and everything. Being able to go through and get some of those shots, it was really, really nice. I really did enjoy it, and I hope to be able to bring more of that to anybody who's out there. I know that there are people who are scared to be in the water. I know of somebody that literally just learned to swim this year, and she's laughing at me too. And her fear of water, she's never going to be able to get there. I love the water. I love being in the water, and everything. And I don't know that it's something that I'm going to be able to do for the rest of my life, but I'm going to try and do it for as long as I possibly can. And I want to get better at doing this stuff. This is my first time out with my new stabilizer system. It worked very, very well. I was able to have it connected to my BCD. I was able to disconnect and hold it out in front of me. And actually, there's a few times where in one of the videos where it was a little bit calmer, I was able to literally just rest it on the end of my finger and lower it down so that I could have like a skimming shot over the little plant life that was on the bottom. And it was really cool looking to me. I'm still learning a lot of things. I hate editing video. Because and part of it is because I look at the video and I was like, oh my God, I wish this was better. I wish this was more stable. And all kinds of other things. I want so much, and I want to do so much. I would love to have 4K, 8K cameras, 8K, 240 frames a second, and be able to take it underwater, and be able to take and go down there and have, you know, somebody that is there to be support and everything else. I would love to be able to do these trips and take and do the same dives through different areas over multiple days. I would absolutely love it, but I can't. Um, One, I don't have the money. It's going to take time for things like that to happen. I know it. Um, you know, it's frustrating because, you know, I want to get it now. But eventually I will get there. And I also want to share this with other people. I know that there are people out there who have had a lot of problems in their lives, and, you know, they want, you know, they want to be good people, and you know, maybe their families were similar to mine, maybe it was somebody else. And I seriously, go watch some of my other videos where I talk about that. In fact, there's probably going to be a link up here at some point in time, and there will also be a link put in the description. It's going to take a couple of days till I get it there. When I get home, go through my channel, and there's a video there that's very special, and it's about what I want to try and do for other people. I have tons of ideas. In fact, I have what I think is going to be an amazing idea for a snorkel. It's a necessary evil. I hate these things the way they are made currently. I end up either sucking water while I'm on the surface, or I end up going to take a breath and going because and you know, literally I just exhaled almost completely, and then I go to take a breath and it's like, oh, I can't breathe. You know, I hate these things, and I have an idea that will make it better. It's going to take me some time to prototype it, and I'm going to try and do it for less than $100. I that's about my budget for prototyping right now and stuff. So you know, hopefully I'll get there. This is a prototype, and I'll talk a little bit about that for a second here. This one is a design that's been out there for a while, and I do have a making of video, but you can find other stuff, and if you're handy, you can make this no problem. This clip here, this is a clip that I clip onto my BC. This clip stays permanently attached. Here, I'll show this. This clip stays permanently attached to my BCD while I'm diving. There is a loop of paracord. If you go look at my gear video and the things that I like to have, paracord is one of those things that I think is an absolute must for your dive kit, because if you lose a fin strap, if you lose you know, your strap that holds your snorkel on, if you have your camera and you're worried about it, this paracord looped on through here is going to save you. And I'll turn a light on here so that it looks a little bit better view. Now, and the, you know, paracord. And so the paracord goes through this loop here. Again, these break. Sometimes they break, or maybe they unscrew, and then that is looped around here. And then when I hop into the water, this is the reason why I want to do these in wide rather than tall. I'm not tall, I'm wide. So anyway, this clip right here is attached onto my BC right here, and then I have this connected in. So I can take, and when this is down here, I hold one hand over my mask here, and then I take and I can put my other hand over here and keep it held close to my body. It's fairly small. It fits across my BCD. It doesn't extend out too far, so I can walk along on the dive boat. I'm not catching on things. I like the size that way. The camera mount is pretty nice. I'm still trying to fine tune where it is. When I look through, this camera screen is black almost all the time, so I'm trying to figure out where my aim point is here. There's a few shots that I have where I thought I was pointing right at what I was looking for, and it'll be maybe a little bit cut off because I'm looking through here as this is what I'm seeing. and I need it's just ever so slightly, you know, maybe a millimeter or two. And then again, it depends upon how far away stuff is from me. So makes it tough, and it's a learning process. You know, there's a lot of things where, oh yeah, you can go out and you can do this class or that class or the other class. Okay, well that's all fine and dandy if you're going to use the equipment that you buy. If you have $2,000 to go buy this equipment, absolutely take the class. They're going to show you exactly what you need to do with that stuff. These guys, you know, to a point, the ones that are doing it or selling it have probably used the stuff and they're probably fairly good at it, or you know, whatever. It's still going to be a process to learn. You make your own, you're going to have to learn it on your own. You're going to have to learn your adjustments and everything. It takes time. But this guy here, I can take and one finger there, and he wants to sit flat. And it's not because of the weight of the camera. This camera doesn't weigh very much. You know, maybe is less than a pound for that camera. But what I did is I took this section down here, and right about here where this this piece of PVC comes into this elbow, and right about the same spot over on this other side, where that is, and up into about here on this elbow, I put lead shot in there, and then I covered with epoxy. So this is all epoxied in place, and then everything is sealed together just like you would with a plumbing system. If you can use PVC glue and whatnot, you can make this. This is sealed. There's no water ingress. And I'll show this guy here, which I've got a washer on there that I'm going to take off. Actually ended up not needing it, but I just didn't worry about that one. So this is a threaded piece, and this guy here that I dropped, if you look up in there, that's threaded. And so that allows me to replace these. This is just a simple little PVC cap, and this has been cemented in place. But before I did that, I took and I drilled a small hole, threaded this bolt in, and then threaded this on so that I would have everything pointing the correct direction. And if I tighten this guy down here just a little bit, boom, right about there. That's fairly tight. It's fairly straight across. And I can either take and mount another camera here, or I can mount another light here. The lights have been really good. There's been some reviews on Amazon where I got them where they leaked. I took and just took the seal and took a little bit of silicone lubricant and rubbed it right around that seal edge there, right there, and just a little light layer of silicone. And instead of this bulging out here in the middle, it literally just pulls right on in. When you clip it down, it seals up very, very nicely. Now, when I first got it, this area here bulged out and it did not seal. So I imagine if you don't do that, there will be problems with it. Same for any seal. The seal on the camera, again, you have to deal with that. The lights were just a little bit, I would like them to be just a little bit brighter. So I will probably end up, these were fairly cheap. I think it was a pack of 2 for like 30 bucks, something like that. And so I may add another one on, or on either side, or I may add a third one up top. I think that will get me about where I want to be for now. There will probably be other iterations of this. Maybe I will take and get a 4-way crossed here. I actually had to change this. I had these turned in, and this way here, it's a little bit too short to have these turned in to have the camera as well as that. So I would have to make this a little bit wider. But I would rather go a little bit wider than tall for that stability, you know, out there versus, you know, out here. A little bit better stability there. And like I said, what I did is I took each one of these, I had this mounted on, I had the camera mounted, and then those got glued into place. This is completely a sealed system. When you're underwater, this is next to nothing. It will take and kind of fall down and fall over like this, fall forward a little bit if you let it go. That's because there is some weight in here. Changes, I probably should have put a couple ounces less lead in here towards the surface. It's not too awful bad. And again, this is sealed like regular plumbing. This should withstand at least 100 psi, and I believe this PVC is rated up to 300 psi. So it should be good for that. It's really been great. I'm very happy with it. I think the footage is going to be a lot better. I think everybody's going to enjoy it a lot more. And there's going to be more of these changes to come. So if you're out there and you're doing this stuff and you want something that's a little bit more stable, especially if you have one of the ones that you hold in your hand like this, it's going to be rocking the entire time, especially if you're swimming. This has been a lot more stable. It's been a lot better. I really
Excuse me.
and there's my phone going off. They're telling me, hey, we might have changed your departure details. So today is a sea day. This is our last full day on the ship. We're getting ready to go to lunch here, probably in about an hour now. It should be about noon right now. So yeah, we're going to go have lunch and get to watch a show tonight. That's another nice thing about being on the ship. I love being able to do that. I love being able to look out and see the water. I love getting a lot of pictures. I have quite a few. I can probably put together a little slideshow video of some of the pictures and some of my favorite things for people out there who are interested in it. You know, I am an amateur photographer. I am an amateur videographer for underwater. I love doing all kinds of different things. I love sharing it with other people. I love to make other people's lives a little bit brighter, a little bit better. On this trip, I've been trying to do something different. I've done quite a few shorts, and I want to share things with everybody, and I want somebody to be like, oh my gosh, that's just amazing. That's beautiful. You know, I want them to find these things, and I encourage anybody and everybody out there to go do something, travel, explore, see something different. If you can make it, go on a ship, go to another country, open your mind a little bit, see other things, see how others live, be compassionate, be caring, be understanding, make things better. Stop being all about me. When you're driving down the road, if you see that person going roop, 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 back and forth, they have one thing on their mind: themselves. There are billions of people out there in the world. Billions. We all have to do something to help each other. If we can't do that, we're doomed. I am trying to do that for everybody. And for as many people as I can, I want to get them into the water. Once I get to the point in time where I can instruct, I've already started telling people where I live. It's a small town. If you can take and swim, if you can afford the PADI fees, and if you're willing to take the time to put in the effort, I will teach you for free. I want nothing. I don't want a dime from those people, because that's my community. And when my community everybody has said, oh, I love it, I'm diving, I want to get out there and do everything, I'm going to move to the next community. And then I'm going to move to the next community. Where I live, there's not a lot of rich people. I'm sure there's some people that can take and afford a lot. I know I can't. My being able to dive has been a miracle given to me by my wife. And I know that she's out there somewhere. And I just realized it on this trip. And that's kind of one of the things that I do on these trips. I realize things. I was talking to one of my dive masters, which if you go look in my shorts feed, you're actually going to see Jorge, and I can't remember the other guy's name. I keep thinking Steve and Beldar. I don't know why that pops in my head, and I actually thought about introducing him. Hey, this is Steve and Beldar here, but anyway, you know, Jorge was the guy who was there helping guide the trip on my very first blue water dive in Cozumel. This is the third time I've dove with him. I my heart goes out to him and his family. You know, and I really appreciate it. I hope he at some point in time has somebody come up, Sand Dollar Diver, or Sand Dollar Sports. Um, you know, go in there and say, hey, where's Jorge? MuttMutt sent me. You remember the guy? You remember the guy with the tattoo? Just tell him, hey, you remember the guy with that tattoo? That, or there's a guy with a leg tattoo with a reef and a turtle. He's been out here a couple of times. He lost his wife. He sent me. Tell him that. Do it. Um, he seems like a great guy. He's very down to earth. And I would love to be able to come down and dive with him multiple times over a week. And eventually, that's one of the things I'd like to do. I would like to be able to take and go out and do a week-long diving trip at different locations. Right now, I'm exploring. I've got a few places that I want to go. One is Cozumel and to dive with Sand Dollar. Two, I want to go to Roatan. I want to go to Turquoise Bay, the Subway Water Sports. Very, very, very nice diving there. Anthony's Key, I dove with their operation, and that was very nice and very professional. I would love to go back to Jamaica, where I did my advanced open certification. And there, it was a Scuba Caribe. It is a large operation, and but the dive master there actually, funny story, but that's on the Hotel Riu and resort in Montego Bay. Those guys there, and Terrence Fenton was the guy who did my advanced open water certification, and it was great with them. And the young lady, or I say young lady, I just, you know, woman who was running the operation, I believe she was from South Africa. When my first dive there, and I didn't know it at the time, I got to see something amazing, and I've confirmed that with the Sand Dollar Sports. I got to see dolphins on a reef. Now, okay, dolphins. Dolphins, it's the ocean. Dolphins on a reef. Wild dolphins on a reef. Now, I got back to the dive operation and went in and said, you know, or she said, well, how was it? And I said, oh, it was great. I said, got to see dolphins. And she was like, what? You got to see dolphins on the reef? And I said, yeah. And she was like, I have over 3,000 dives, and I've never seen dolphins on a reef. And I got to do it again in Roatan. I got to see dolphins on a reef. So in less than 100 dives, I've seen dolphins on a reef twice. And I said something to Jorge and the guy who's running the show, and I told the story, and he was like, "Oh wow, really? You've seen dolphins on a reef twice?" And I'm sure he's up there. I'm sure both of these guys are. They probably dive 2 or 3 dives a day, every single day, 7 days a week, probably, or at the very least 5 days a week. I mean, do the math. 5 days a week. Let's call it 11 months out of the year. How many dives do these guys have? I dove with Jorge in 2019. How many dives does he have? You know, and so. And guess what? If you've stuck around this long, I'm going to let you in on a little surprise that wasn't in those pictures. Got to see a sea turtle in Costa. Now, I've seen sea turtles before. The first one was in Cozumel. I have a tattoo on my calf that is has a sea turtle there, and that is my way of remembering where I was at and where I see in different things. And got to see another sea turtle. And so if you watched all this thing and you got all the way to the end, you know something that's coming that nobody else does. Anyway, thank you very much for sticking around. Thank you for watching. Remember, like, subscribe, all that stuff. I poured my heart out for over an hour now to take and bring you guys information, to give you some information and talk about things and show you what's coming up, and hopefully for those people who are out there that want to learn to do this stuff. Hopefully this will be something that helps you. One little tip: sand down the PVC, wash it off the water once it's all sealed up, or except for your caps. I did these last. Once it's all sanded down and it's all cleaned off and all the dust is off, wipe it down with acetone, and then use one of the paints that is made for plastics. The only spot where I have any wear is right in that little area there, and that's because of this clip. Otherwise, you know, there's a little bit of darkening and everything in here, but it's sticking great, and you know, that makes it really easy to see. You know, and like I said, a little bit less wet lead down in the bottom. I probably would have only put into this section here. I would imagine that there's probably about 8 ounces of lead in here. I would probably cut it down to about 4. Right now, as it is, I think it would have been more positively buoyant. I think that would have been good. It would have made it a little bit lighter. But, you know, being underwater, it's been really good. So, all right. Hour, I know. I can talk forever. I love talking about this stuff. I love sharing, and I want to make the world a better place. Get out there, see the world, do some good things, right? All right. I am done. I'm out of here. Bye. See you later.